Welcome to our second lesson. It's order of operations and evaluating expressions. Our goals for today are to simplify expressions using exponents and also to use the order of operations to evaluate expressions. Now, there's some important vocabulary that we need to talk about before we actually go through the lesson. Now, I've written it in already, so if you need to, you can pause the video to write this down. But it talks about a power. Now, a power is an expression with two parts. It has a base and an exponent. So a power, for example, is 2 to the third power. This entire thing is the power. The exponent tells you how many times to use the base as a factor. Now, the exponent is this part right here. It's the little number. The base, okay, is the number you are multiplying repeatedly. So in this example, 2 is the base. So what 2 to the third power really means is that you're multiplying 2 by itself 3 times. So that means 2 times 2 times 2. Now be careful, 2 times 2 times 2 is not 6. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Okay. Now, the other thing you'll be hearing me say a lot is to simplify. Simplify basically means to do as much as you can to the expression, right? So by saying to replace the expression with its simplest name or form, get it to do as much as you can with it so it's down to the simplest form. So, let's look at some examples. So example 1 says, what is the simplified form of the expression? 10 to the 5th power means that you're going to multiply 10 by itself 5 times. So 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 is 100,000. So I have gotten it down to one number. I simplified it. 2 to the third power, or 2/3 to the third power, I should say, would be 2/3 times itself 3 times. Now, if you've forgotten how to multiply fractions, we multiply across. So I would do 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. 3 times 3 times 3, which is 27. 3 to the 4th power would be 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. So this, 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27, times 3 is 81. Okay. So all of these, I was able to get it to its simplest form using my exponent rules. Okay. Now, it is important we know how to deal with exponents when we're using order of operations. Now, maybe some of you have heard, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, right? The first letter of those, P, E, M, D, A, and S, right, are the order of operations. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Okay? Now the P stands for parentheses. When we're simplifying an expression, we always have to use order of operations. And order of operations tells us what steps to take. Our first step, we should always take care of any parentheses first. That means these, or brackets you might see, right? Anything that's inside that parentheses you have to take care of first. The next step is to take care of any exponents, and we just learned how to take care of exponents. The next step is doing multiplication and division. Now they're the same step. You don't always do multiplication first. You take care of them whichever one comes first in the problem. So we always work with multiplication and division from left to right. So like you're reading a book. Addition and subtraction are the next step. This is just like multiplication and division. You don't always do addition first. You work with addition and subtraction from left to right. Again, if you need to pause to write down, please do. Okay? So these are our steps for simplifying expressions. So let's try a couple. If you look at A, I have 9 divided by 4. My first step for order of operations is always parentheses. I have parentheses, and inside my parentheses is 9 minus 3. So I do that first. 9 minus 3 is 6. Now, the 6, there's nothing else I can do to it. There's no other operations inside the parentheses. So I'm done with that. My next step is exponents. Well, 6 squared means 6 times 6. 6 times 6 is 36. So I've just completed the exponents. Now my only other step left is division. 36 divided by 4 is 9. And there's my answer. Okay. Now, B. B says 2 to the 5th plus, in parentheses, 11 plus 14 divided by 5. Again, I have parentheses, so I always do that first. 11 plus 14 is 25. So I have 2 to the 5th plus 25 divided by 5. My next step is exponents. I have an exponent, 2 to the 5th, okay? 2 to the 5th is 32. Now I don't do anything else, I'm taking this one step at a time. Now here's where people make mistakes. The next step should be multiplication and division. Do not add 32 and 25 together, okay? We do division first. That comes next. So I'm doing 25 divided by 5, which is 5. Now the last step is addition and subtraction. I've got addition here. 32 plus 5 is 37. Okay. Now C. If I look, I have no parentheses, so I skip the first step. I have no exponents. I skip the second step. My third step is multiplication and division. Remember, I don't always do multiplication first. I work from left to right. If I look in this example, if I'm going from left to right, division comes before multiplication. So I divide these two numbers first. So 6 divided by 3 is 2. Now I go to multiplication, because that is the next one. 2 times 4 is 8. Now all that's left is addition and subtraction. I can take 10 minus 5 first, because that comes first in the problem, and then do 5 plus 8, which is 13. Okay. D, I have parentheses, exponents, division, addition, and subtraction. Okay. Now I'm going to take care of my parentheses first, but there's two steps that need to be done inside the parentheses. First thing I'm going to do is the exponent inside of there. So 2 to the 3rd is 8. And then I go ahead and I'm still working through the parentheses. Okay. I would go ahead and take 8 plus 4, which is 12. Now again, don't forget to keep following order of operations. I wouldn't do 10 minus 12 because division comes before subtraction. I would take 12 divided by 3, which is 4. Now I would go 10 minus 4 first, because that comes first in the problem, and then minus 1. So 6 minus 1 is 5. Okay. Now E. This one, if you notice, it has a big fraction bar over it. You're going to do order of operations separately for the top and the bottom, and then at the end you're going to divide. So this big fraction bar means to divide. So I'm going to take care of the top first. Inside the parentheses, okay, I have exponents and subtraction. I'm going to take care of the exponents first. So 3 to the 4th power is 81. 7 squared is 49. Now I haven't touched the denominator yet, okay? If you want to, you can do 2 to the 3rd power, because we are working with exponents. 2 to the 3rd power is 8, okay? Now the bottom is all simplified besides having to divide, so I'm going to focus on the top. Inside I still have parentheses. I have to get rid of that first. 81 minus 49 is 32. Now, I still have more work to do. 23 plus 32 is 55. Now that I have everything down to one term on the top, one term on the bottom, I can divide them. Now 55 divided by 8 doesn't go in evenly. Check to see if you can simplify your fraction, which you can. So you leave it in fraction form. Simplify should not have decimals in it. So I leave it as 55 over 8. The last example in this set. Here, again, I've got another fraction bar. Okay? I am going to take the 3 to the 4th power first, because that's an exponent. So I have 81. Now again, I work through this separately. So the top, 4 plus 81 is 85. The bottom, 7 minus 2 is 5. And once I have it one term on the top, one term on the bottom, I divide them. 85 divided by 5 is 17. So that's simplifying expressions using order of operations. The last examples, and I'm not going to go through all of them, I'm going to have you guys try the last two. But the first one, A, okay, I have x squared plus 2x plus 16 divided by y squared. It says to evaluate the expression using order of operations and gives you where x equals 3 and y equals 4. So it's asking you to replace the x's and y's with these numbers. 3 squared plus 2x, so 2 times 3, plus 16 divided by y squared, so divided by 4 squared. Okay. Now I follow out of order of operations. Now these parentheses just mean multiplication. There's nothing inside the parentheses, no operations. So I'm going to do my exponents first. 3 squared is 9. And 4 squared is 16. Now I've got addition, multiplication, and division. I'm going to do the multiplication first because that comes first in the problem. So this would be a 6. Now I'm going to do the division because that comes next, right? Addition comes after multiplication and division. So 16 divided by 16 is 1. And then I can add all three of these together. 9 plus 6 is 15. 15 plus 1 is 16. Now, please pause the video and try B and C on your own. Okay? Okay. Hopefully you paused the video and you tried B and C on your own. Okay? As you can tell, for B and C I have all of the problem worked out, showed all of my work, and ended up for B getting 37 and for C getting 4. Again, make sure you fill out the Google form beneath this video, and I will see you guys tomorrow.